We go. Hello, everyone. I am your host, SunDej, for the Manifesting Through Music conference. And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Natalie Imani. So thank you, Natalie. And I just want you to introduce yourself to all the attendees before we get started.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me. I am Natalie Imani. I am a R&B artist. I tour and sing background for a lot of artists. The main artist that I've been with for over 10 years is John Legend. And I'm also the life and music coach. It's a company that I started to help people with their voice. I do a lot of vocal coaching, songwriting, and just like helping people learn to uh, face their fears and in music and creativity. So.
Thank you. And one quick question too. So with life coaching and vocal coaching, can you just give us some differences of what people could expect working with you versus somebody who only focuses on the vocal aspect of the coaching?
Yeah, so most of my clients who come to me are people that are looking for vocal coaching. But my approach is a holistic approach because I feel like your voice is not separate from you. It's not just like, oh, I'm Natalie Imani and here's my voice. Like there's my voice, there's my health, there's my body, there's my emotions. So I always start out all of my vocal sessions wanting to know more about the artist and how they're feeling, and just being more of a support than just focusing on the voice. I try to focus on the person as much as possible. I think what really makes me different from other coaches is that I really focus on building a relationship with my clients. It's not just, oh, okay, here's our session and I'm going to play a couple of notes and you sing them back. Like, it's very much like, what do you need? How are you feeling? How can I help you today? That's a big part of what I offer as well, outside of just the vocal portion of what I do.
Yes, I love that because I've worked with a vocal coach, and it was just that, like, okay, we're gonna this is what let's see what your range is. Okay, now that we know what your range is, let's do these scales or whatever. So I love that because I feel like a lot of times, especially when you're first starting out, like you need support when it comes to just like the mindset of what it is to be a singer or a vocal artist, and just like different things that come up that affect your voice, whether it's like you had mentioned before, facing your fears and some of the hard things that influence how we use our voice. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, can you just give us a little bit of background on your experience in the industry? I know you mentioned that you worked with John Legend for a while, but can you just also like share how you got started and maybe some of your experience is as an artist as well?
Well, I've been singing practically all of my life. I had my first record deal when I was 14 years old, so I've kind of been in and out of it a bit throughout my life. I went to high school for music. I went to college and got my degree in music industry and communications. And I started touring in about, I want to say around 2008. I started touring and singing background for other artists. And I really enjoyed it. It's something that I'm really passionate about. Um, I've that's the main thing that I've been doing a lot of touring and singing background for different artists like Jasmine Sullivan, Lauryn Hill, John Legend, Nicki Minaj, Shaggy. Like, there's so many different types of artists that I've performed with. Um, and I've been with John for over 10 years, and I really love and admire the way that he runs his business and how he, treats us and how awesome it is. Just kind of being able to run your business as a music artist, but also as like a business, as a boss, and just kind of seeing that it's not just fun, it's also a business. Um, so Yeah, I'm his like lead vocalist. If you go to YouTube or you go to my page, you'll see a lot of my performances singing lead with him. So I've learned a lot on that platform. And even and that's something that I bring to my sessions as well during my vocal coaching. I kind of share as much of my experience as possible.
Mhm.
Just like even when you're on tour traveling around the world, just kind of knowing how to take care of your voice and so that you have a voice every night. Um, Different ways that you can take care of yourself. Whether you're drinking enough water, whether you're eating the right foods, exercising, like all these different things to take care of yourself so that when it comes time to sing, you're at like your optimum self. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so yes, let's get into that because I feel like, I mean, I've even heard some of the artists that you hear a lot on, whether it's R&B or pop charts, at various levels, but like some that most people are familiar with, and they'll say like, I don't do warm-ups, and I'm just like, oh, like every artist has their own flow when it comes to how they prepare, and then too, every artist is doing different things. Like sometimes they just have one show every couple months, or then you have other artists who are touring, 50 different cities. So can you just talk to us a little bit about how to take care of your voice, and what practices we should put in place so that we can be at our best when we have to show up on the stage or in front of the camera?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I kind of share with my clients on how it's important to take care of your voice. There are some singers that don't find vocal warm-ups to be valuable or who just don't do it. I posted some tips on why vocal warm-ups are important more recently. And there I find that so many singers who are actually more seasoned don't do warm-ups. I don't know whether they think that it's just for rookies or for the new singers, but it's actually really good for taking care of your instrument and really wanting to have longevity. If you look up, those Ariana Grande, John Legend, um, what's the name? Kelly Clarkson, like so many different artists, you'll see that they do vocal warm-ups before they perform because your voice, just like any other instrument, needs to be warmed up. Like if you're gonna play your guitar, you're gonna tune it up first. If you're gonna any instrument that you do, you're going to warm it up first. So I think it's really important to do that so that you don't injure your voice and so that you have like longevity. Just kind of, even if you do just like 15 minutes a day, it's good to do some vocal warm-ups. So I definitely emphasize that. Drinking lots of water, making sure you're hydrated. I also recommend, making sure that you're having vitamins and supplements to make sure that you're not catching a cold or getting sick while you're traveling. Um, Ginger is something that's really good for inflammation and keeping a lot of mucus out of your voice and giving you access to a lot of different parts of your voice. Something about ginger brings more blood flow to your vocal cords. So that's something that's really good along with exercising. Exercise is really good for the blood flow and making sure that actually gives you more access to the higher notes and more range when you're exercising more, when you're having ginger and you're keeping the blood flow to your voice and getting rid of the mucus and the phlegm or whatever that may be. Yeah, so I think those are like the main things: exercise, taking care of your health, eating healthy, lots of water and hydration, ginger tea. um I think those are like and vocal warm-ups, those are like the main
Mhm.
things that I would say for like taking care of your voice.
Okay. So, um, I really like what you said about exercise because I don't normally hear vocal coaches talk about exercise. It's like, it's more of the technical practices, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think that's really important too to your overall health, just your general health. But I didn't know that it helps you to reach higher notes. That's really amazing.
Yeah,
So.
And when you're exercising too, with your voice, you're utilizing your lungs and your diaphragm a lot too. So
Mhm.
exercise is great for that too, expanding your breath so that you can like sing for longer periods of time, or even perform, dance around and everything a lot more because you have that stamina that's built up from exercising.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for the artists and the singers who are like, okay, I would love to work with a vocal coach, but I don't have the budget to do it. What are some things that you can share with them that, will could get them started as far as preparing on their own until they can expand their budget to work with a vocal coach, or just any other things that you want to, any last things that you want to share as far as working with a vocal coach specifically. And I'll say too, like even when it comes just to business and learning the online space and social media alone, it's helpful to have somebody walking you through step by step instead of just sifting through hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos, right? Because you have access to that person directly, so they can give you some type of customized plan for your own personal needs. So, can you just share what that looks like as far as working with the vocal coach and things they could do? So maybe some different things that they could do to get started on their own too.
Yeah, I think that was a good way that you explained it as far as vocal coaching, because it is pretty customized to what every person's needs are, because people come with different things all the time, right? But there's so many free resources out there if you just want to get started on taking care of yourself and taking care of your voice on your own, especially with YouTube. There are lots of vocal warm-ups on there. So there's certain things that you want to make sure that you look up, like like maybe like a 5 to 10 minute vocal warm-up exercise that you can do every single day, right? Um, you can also look up some breathing techniques on YouTube, right? Those are some things that can help you tremendously with your voice. Um, I think between those two things are probably the most valuable to get started, like knowing how to breathe properly and doing vocal warm-ups every day. So, doing those warm-ups every day is going to help you build up your vocal stamina as well. Between that and the breathing, you should be able to sing for longer periods of time. If you get booked to do a show that's an hour long, you shouldn't be hoarse at the end of that, and you won't be, as long as you're like doing these exercises and you're going on, doing these warm-ups and these breathing exercises. Another thing that's really good that I recommend is to get a personal steamer. That's something that you could find on Amazon. And that's going to help you like keep your vocal cords like moist and lubricated. Those are things um, if you're traveling a lot, you might be in Vegas, right? And it's really dry and like desert there during that time. You want to use this steamer to like open up your voice and, help you not feel so dry, so that's something that's pretty good too. um but so yeah, that's good. I think those are like some good things, some
Yes.
vocal warm-up, some breathing techniques, and try to get us. And if you can't afford or you don't want to get a personal steamer, you can always just use hot water in a sink and put a towel over your head and use that to kind of open up your passageways a little bit.
Okay. So then for anybody who wants to work with you, what would it look like from the time they sign up to the first point of contact with you to um, them reaching whatever their vocal goal is? And if you have a specific client in mind, you don't have to share their name, like maybe a process that you went through with them, just to give people an example of what it looks like to work with you.
Yeah, for sure. So you reach out to me, you click the link in my Instagram bio, and you schedule a time for us to meet. And I usually start all of my clients with a 15-minute client assessment. I start off with my rules, which is basically not to criticize yourself and know that this is a safe space. You don't have to worry about hitting bad notes or trying to sound perfect all the time. So I try to make people feel comfortable with that in the beginning and kind of start to ask them questions about what they are looking to do. Like, what do you want to what do you look at? Do you want to learn to riff? Do you want to learn to sing higher? Do you want to, do you have performances coming up that you want to work on? I had a client who she actually worked in real estate, but her passion was writing poetry. But she wanted to learn how to make her poetry into songs. So I taught her how to create song form, and I actually helped her link up with a producer to help add music to her songs. So like you said, it's always a customized package because different people come with different expectations and different things that they're looking for in the course. So I'll ask those few questions. Who are your favorite artists? What's your favorite style of music? Somebody might be looking to learn their own voice. They might want to learn how to take a Rihanna song and make it sound like Natalie Imani, like find their own signature style. That's something that I can curate and help them with as well. During the assessment, I also do an ear test where I play some notes and try to see, how good they are at like singing back what they hear. And I'll have them sing a song, and then I'll give my assessment on how I think I can help them. And I'll create an outline on what that path would look like, which is, like you said, a customized thing. But you'll always like walk away with an outline of what we're gonna work on. Usually the sessions are like 1 hour a week, and they let me know if they want to get started, and then we just go from there.
Okay. And then also, I know each client is different, but typically, how long does it take for you to see results with your client? Like, maybe the soonest example of progress, and then, or how long of a period it takes to reach a certain vocal goal.
So what I normally do is suggest that people purchase 4 sessions up front as opposed to just one at a time, because I find that if someone just does one at a time, they don't stick with it. Like they'll do one session and they'll be like, oh, I can't afford it, or they don't really, so they can't really get the results that they're looking for without purchasing more than one session at a time. So because we do 4 sessions, by the end of that fourth session, there are definitely things that you'll be able to do that you weren't able to do in the beginning. So I would say after around the fourth session is when people start to see a difference. I normally kind of teach people like the fundamentals for like the first 2 sessions, and we won't even really get into singing full songs until the third or fourth session. So by those sessions, you're implementing everything that I've taught and everything that you've learned from there and started to apply it. So you'll definitely hear a difference between how you sang before and how you're doing it now, because you're implementing the information that I've shared with you throughout that period of time.
Okay, so for about 4 weeks is how long it takes to see progress. How long generally do you recommend that your clients work with you? Because I'm sure it takes way longer than 4 weeks to see, you know, for the client perhaps to see like a big difference in their own vocal progress.
Well, it varies. It depends on what your goal is. And I also always emphasize making sure that you're working in between our sessions. It's up to the client how many times they want to meet during a week. So if you want to do more than one session, we can. But regardless, what you do in between those sessions is going to be really important in order for you to see growth. So I would say, like, don't just depend on our once a week session. And, after the 4 weeks, your voice is like so great. Everything that I'm teaching, I'm going to give you tools to implement into your daily practice. So every day you're going to be working at it, so that by the end of those 4 weeks, it's not just 4 sessions worth of work you know that you're singing off of. You're working off of 4 weeks of work, because I'm going to give you things that you can work on daily. So how far you go and how quickly you reach your goal depends on how committed you are to applying the information and how much time you're spending working on your craft. So if you don't spend the time, you don't, do the daily, practice that we kind of implement, it can take something that could have taken 4 weeks, may take 12 weeks, because you're not putting the time in. So how long it takes really depends on the person's commitment to what they're trying to do.
Okay. And then too, before we wrap up, do you have any piece of advice, or whether it's related to vocal training specifically, or just generally being an artist or being a singer, what's something you would want to leave somebody with who's just starting out in the industry? And what's the biggest thing that you can give to piece of advice you can give to them on this journey before they get started?
Well, the number one thing that I would say to anybody is to stay encouraged, because every day is not going to feel the same. You're not always going to feel like you did great. You're not always going to feel like you're good at this. Like some days you're going to feel like it doesn't make any sense. So I would say to just stay encouraged and really um, try to spend time to find that within yourself, like find that encouragement within to keep pushing for what your goal is. And to also try your best to pinpoint your goals. Because as long as you know what your goal is, you can achieve it. If you don't know what your goal is, you'll spend a lot of time wasting time trying to figure it out. So just select something and give it your all. Be committed and stay encouraged.
Yes, thank you so much. I feel like we could have gone deeper in so many different ways with this topic, but this is good. Like, let everyone know all the ways that they can contact you and reach out to you. I know you mentioned Instagram, but if you want, you can share some of your other social media platforms or wherever it is they can connect with you.
Yeah, you can follow me at Natalie Imani on Instagram. I have my own music, so if you want to check out my music, you could go check that out at Natalie Imani. If you're interested in vocal coaching, you can find me on Instagram. That's the only place where you can find me. So you can go to my Instagram, you could send me a DM, or you could click the link in that bio. My name on Instagram is The Life and Music Coach. So go ahead and follow me, and I hope I can help you achieve your goals.
Yes. Okay. Thank you again. Thank you to everybody who watched from beginning to end. And if you didn't catch some of those socials, don't worry. I'm going to have a cheat sheet for you at the end so that you can have clickable links to each one of the speakers to get in touch with them when the conference is over. So thank you all for watching this segment. And thank you, Natalie Imani, for being our guest speaker today. Make sure you all register to see the other speakers when we come back tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Okay.